Hello there, everybody. I am a little bit eepy, but it is Monday, and the show must go on because if you already know, you clicked on the video, it's Monday, which means it's... How do I say this again? It's not Maple Monday, that's the Deboki thing. Monday Maple Musings. Listen, I haven't fucked that up in a little while, but we got there in the end. The microwave, the triple M, we take a look at the subreddit over the last week, and we just kind of see what people have been talking about. And this week I have an inkling as to what is going to be at the top. Get it? Inkling? Inkwelling? Inkwelling? Haha, haha, lamau. And then also, I'm not surprised to see this post at the very top, despite it being already pinned, but like, it's a very well thought out post. Like I always like to mention, people who put effort into like different game communities, like especially like because this is all just community based shit, right? And everyone always, you know, the whole meme Reddit mods, fucking neckbeards, all that shit. I mean, at the end of the day, people are just community members, and this Bacon gentleman, very good man, bigly appreciated. Just mostly everybody at the MapleStory subreddit. As far as game subreddits go, MapleStory sub is like one of the better ones out there as far as moderation goes. I will say that. But we will be definitely looking at this post, and shout out to the community. You know what I'm saying? But let's take a look at some other threads, because I'm also not going to spend too much time on it because there's a lot to dissect, and I also think that a lot of it is... I mean, it's opinion. Everybody has their own opinion about everything, you know what I mean? I was just trying to get 23 attack on my ball. Oh, this reminds me of the, It's not a top post, but I really want to see this post. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. I saw this the other day. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. Rerolled weapon double prime by mistake. That's a sad one. I'm gonna open that thread. That's a special one for you and me. Anyways, we'll open up these threads and we'll call this good for now. Because I think the majority of it's gonna be focused on this big thread, even if I'm not gonna like go over it super in depth with a fine-tooth comb, but I am gonna touch on it very, very closely. I will say that I think... I mean, initially my knee-jerk reaction to the reception of the Inkwell note was people are focusing on what isn't in the note versus what is in the note. Because I will 100% agree that this note is... Honestly, it probably didn't need to be written, and I wonder if it's just because, like, community pressure and sentiment was like, oh yeah, note, 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 note. But it's like, there's nothing noteworthy, no pun intended. I think a lot of people conflate the note with just wanting free things, and I mean, everybody loves free things. I'm part of that, everyone, you know, I love free things as much as the next guy. But I think more than anything is I like seeing the roadmap, the future, the thoughts behind, like, what we're doing, why we're doing it, why we're getting things. But that being said, the note is pretty bare bones. But that does not mean it is completely devoid of things that I think are at least, for lack of a better term, like, very important and very worth reading, and, like, maybe I'm comprehending it in a way that is not intended, but I feel like there's only a few different ways you can, like, interpret certain things, and I'll show you what I mean specifically. But basically, if you haven't seen the Inkwell note, it's mostly just kind of touching on lighter things, talking about game service, what they've been working on team-wise, stability, they've been talking about the patches, winter update. Specifically here, I want to make a note here. He mentions the winter update contains sizable amount of QOL improvements and GMS exclusive features that set it apart from services in other region, which he obviously, and then he continues to talk about stability, because I mean, this whole thing was about stability, and obviously this patch wasn't like the greatest in the world initially, but it ended up being mostly okay after the initial little hiccup. In any case, I just want to bring like attention to the GMS exclusive features, because that's an important keyword. And you have the PTS that they're talking about, obviously more, some more stuff, fair gaming environment, TLDR, gameplay experience stuff. This is where I think a lot of people see this and they go, okay, well, this isn't anything new. And I would say yes, asterisk. But basically, I think if you read into this, I think there's a lot of good within the things that we already knew was coming, right? And I think mostly, specifically this. Regarding the Star Force enhancement, many Maplers are sharing opinions about. I am aware the current gameplay experience isn't sufficiently satisfactory, okay? So this means he acknowledges that he also agrees that it's not satisfactory, Star Forcing specifically, right? So this is, I mean, this is relevant to our region specifically, right? This isn't like a rehashing or anything. This is like us exclusive. I mean, maybe not us exclusive, but this is for us. And then he goes on to say the system is working because people were talking about rates and wondering if they were bugged or whatever because of the whole KMS box reverting, since KMS don't have like arcane boxes and stuff. So spaghetti code and all that reverts to drop rates. But in any case, he goes on to say they're continuously analyzing data and discussing internally regarding inconveniences and burdens that are felt during actual play. So I think this first like paragraph is like pretty important. This middle paragraph is kind of a nothing burger because it's like, this is just saying, hey, we're going to be getting the things that KMS got, which is the more common 30% off events, which we already could have inferred we would be getting. So I agree that this is also kind of irrelevant. Hello, kitty. Would you like to get on my lap? What are you doing? You looking at me? Okay, you're going to go sit. Okay, you're gonna go sit under my mic arm. Okay, have fun. But the paragraph right after the middle sandwich, like it's literally a sandwich. A good paragraph, a nothing paragraph, and then another good paragraph. This paragraph, I think, is also very important. I still think we have much to improve regarding the gameplay experience enhancements. The QoL improvements included in the last winter update will not be a one-time event. We will also continue to monitor and make ongoing improvements. So what I take this to mean is that they understand that the QoL improvements in the winter update, i.e. the trace restoration thing, the boss restoration thing, pitch pity, this isn't going to be a one-time thing. They're going to keep iterating. And for some reason, to me, this is how I interpret it. I could be completely way off base here, but I feel like this is such a major thing that people are just not acknowledging. Like, this is like the biggest thing ever, in my opinion, at least. Because it's like, if you had asked me like a year ago, do I think Star Forcing is ever going to be improved for like player experience? I would have laughed at you, because no. Like, Star Forcing is miserable intentionally, right? By design. But the fact that you have the guy who's like basically the spearhead for our branch of MapleStory being like, hey, yeah, we're going to continue to look at it and we're going to continue to make improvements because the improvements that we made aren't sufficient enough, and we're going to keep trying to like work towards a better Star Forcing system. To me, that's like, wow, holy shit. And then again, it's more like just kind of, it's not nothing, but it's like not super like important stuff for the rest of the note. And I think rightfully so, one of the things that people were very upset about the note not mentioning specifically was any mention of the Universal Cash Shop. And I completely agree. I think at the very least, even if you had nothing you could publicly say yet, or you have nothing you publicly want to say about it, at the very least you could have made like a little note saying, hey, Universal Cash Shop, Unified Cash Shop, whatever they want to call it, we have nothing to share at this time. We'll touch back later. Like some PR bullshit. But the fact that they didn't even do that is kind of... It is kind of crazy. And I 100% agree. And aside from that Star Forcing thing, I just think the Star Forcing thing is such a big thing to mention. But aside from the Star Forcing thing, yeah, there's not too much going on in here. I completely agree. But I don't know. I try to... Star Forcing is such a big pain point in this game, and systems that allow you to make backward progression are just inherently not fun to interact with, I think. And you can star force in ways that will make it so you reduce or minimize the amount of backward progression you could potentially face. But with the way that the game is set up and the way that the gear progression is set up, when everyone else is hitting and you're not hitting, it keeps, you know, it feels worse and worse and worse and worse. It keeps compounding on itself. And that's why these systems are so bad. Because variance, extreme variance, just feels terrible. And especially when it's a system like this where you have very little agency over it, you know what I mean? But anyways, I did just kind of want to say, like, I think the star forcing mentions those specific things about the systems that are GMS exclusive, and the fact that he acknowledges that they're a problem and they still need to be looked at further than just like the KMS changes, I think is a really good thing. It makes me genuinely optimistic for the future of our game. Truthfully. But that is not to say that, like, I think, you know, there shouldn't have been other things in the note, because I 100% agree as well. I just, you know, I think at the end of the day, and I did this for Lost Ark, I do this for all of my videos, because me personally, I don't see the point in being, like, some super, like, negative person who just, I don't know, spews out hatred for everything ever. Despite me being generally a pretty pessimistic person in, like, my personal life and, like, everything else, I don't know, I try to come across as, like, more positive, and I try to, I mean, I do think these things, truthfully, like, for my games, because, like, if I'm playing something and I'm, like, super negative about it all the time, it's like, why am I playing this, you know what I mean? And again, there's always a fine line between criticism and just, like, shitting on things to shit on things. But that's a whole nother debate. Anyways, I'm just saying, I always try to look at the positive sides of things while not neglecting the things that are just bad. You know what I mean? I try my best. I just try to be me, man. That's really all it is. And I always appreciate you guys that enjoy listening, yapping, all this bullshit. Because that's all these are, you know? We just hang out for a little bit. And I know some people enjoy it. I mean, that's why the whole channel started. But anyways, there are a lot of good subcredits, sub points in here. And I think if you have not read this, whether you read it from just pausing my video, reading it here, or you go to the subreddit and interact with this post directly, because it should still be pinned. I imagine he'll probably keep this pinned for at least a couple weeks, I would hope. Interact with the post yourself. Do whatever you gotta do. Overall, I think there's a lot of very important things in here. And a very important things that should be worth discussing. I mean, another big thing that I think, event importance. I mean, the game has always been event important, but, like, we're making it even more so, which I don't necessarily think is a good thing. There's just a lot here, you know? And I think it's worth discussing. There's always worth a discussion, you know? Because discussing things is how you get things to change. Ride or die. Like, I mean, like, this is so fully comprehensive and, like, inclusive of, like, just a lot of different grievances. But these are things that are worth speaking about, you know? It's worth having a dialect, a discussion. And this is also why, like I say, there's no way I could ever, like, dissect this post fully and, like, go over it with the full sort of attention and effort that it deserves. But just know that I fuck with this shit heavy style, for sure. Pin this shit, dog. But yeah, I think that is, that sums it up. Damn, I almost spent 15 minutes yapping about this. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to keep this short. Because I know, even though this is like a big post, I can't spend like an hour on it. I used to be overpowered. I remember. This is why I opened this, because I was like, oh yeah, I remember this meme. It's fucking great. Poor Pathfinder. Pathfinder was broken when it first came out. I remember. It was very briefly. I mean, Wild Hunter on reboot release was really good too. That's a fucking sentence you'll never hear ever again. And then rerolled weapon double prime by mistake. people always... I've said this since this change came out. This is going to happen to you eventually. It's not an if it happens, it's a when it happens. It's so easy, bro. Double prime with fucking red cubes and he just throws it away. I think I would... that would be it for me, man. It's so easy to reroll in the new eye. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's so easy. Mods comfort him. Why are you going so quick, bro? I mean, is that really even that quick? Like, you can even see at the beginning, he's, like, taking time to read the lines. Like, see, he stops for a second. Stops for a second. I think blaming the player when you have to go through, like, this guy said, like, fucking millions of cubes, it's miserable, dude. They just need to make it better. They need to make cubing QOL better. They just need to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bud. And then the 289, 290 speedrun. This shit. I have to work on this video as well after I make this, even though I'm very yipee. But expect this video to probably come out on Wednesday or Thursday, something like that. I am going to be gaining, hopefully, God willing, a bunch of experience. And I am excited to show y'all the labor of like a month or 2 months of fucking twenteena farming. I didn't do it as sweatily as I could because I tried to have a little bit of like other things going on in my life, but yeah. So satisfying. The event was too good. Yeah, the event is so good. How many pouches was it from? Like 1,200? Bro, I have 1,200. 650? SMHing my head. I'm gonna have so much. My god. Fucking, I'm gonna be looking at like 300T experience, you know what I'm saying? Yum, 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 yum. In any case, I've yapped enough for y'all. I'll let you guys go. As always, like the video if you like it, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. And most importantly, more than anything, make sure if you want to see specific content, if you don't like the content on the subreddit, you are part of the community. You have the power to influence things that are seen, you know? Engage with the community. That's what these videos also kind of originally started as for the Lost Ark side, is a way to, like, be like, hey, engage with the community so we get the things that you want to see. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I'll let you guys go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!